What up? I'm Josh Pullison, and welcome to my programming vlog. I want to talk about the setup that I use for, well, sharing setups. I have a settings.php file, and inside of here is a list of constants. Everything in here, in my opinion, should be a constant, because it lets the users know who are editing settings, hey, this will not change. Nothing will affect your settings will remain. And if you need to adjust the names a little bit to make sure that it's clear, like for example, this is default quality, default subtitles, etc., then just state that it's a default. State that it could be overwritten by stating this is the default. Now, I'm not going to claim that this is the best way to organize your settings. Actually, I would love to hear if you have another way that you like to give your users access to settings. Let me know in the comments. But for PHP, I found that this is a clear way to differentiate, to set apart your settings for your project. And I've gone through quite a bit of work in finessing this and removing things that aren't needed, making sure that people have access to what they really do need. I might actually get rid of the time zone because it might just make the most sense for the way that ShowPony is used with time zones to just have that always be that way. But here we have our basic setup of everything is a constant. Yes, there's a function down here. As far as I'm aware, you can't make a function is a constant. I don't think that you can change a function. But everything's a constant. We make sure that it's all aligned in a way. I use tabs here because doing this with spaces is horrible, in my opinion. You can end up lining this up neatly, and then you have comments explaining what each of the pieces does. I do have a wiki as well, which gives more information. I think that any of the places that are confusing, because I think that some of them could be, I think that I would rather figure out ways to describe it more in the code. So you've got constant variables, you've got constant arrays, and then you've got functions. So that's what I recommend you do for your PHP projects where you want to have some user settings. Now, depending on your target market, maybe it will make more sense for it to be different. Since my target market is people who are not as comfortable with programming, I want to make this as straightforward as possible if somebody does need to touch the code. But most users, well, maybe it's not true that most users, but a lot of users won't ever even need to touch this. So this is what I recommend you do for your settings files, settings.php. End up using only constants because you don't want the settings to ever be changed, even though perhaps it might just be a default. And make sure that you have some comments and nice spacing so that people can easily read it and know what these variables that they are adjusting actually do.